You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast.
What is up, punters and dribblers? Welcome back to another episode of All Talk with Tom and Eddie from the Hello Sport Podcast on the SEN airwaves. Back with another interview. This one is a personal one to us.
This is close to our heart. This
Very
one.
close to our
Definitely.
hearts.
We are talking this week with a dear friend, a close personal friend, a confidant, a champion of the game, Tom, a premiership winner.
A New Zealand captain.
Exactly, at a very young age, might I add. An all-round stud, an alpha male, a leader of men, a patriarch, a grandfather, a great human being.
Yeah, the only current playing NRL grandfather. In fact, maybe, and there's a very real chance, that the only grandfather to ever play NRL. Fresh off the back of a hat-trick on the weekend, but we interviewed him before the hat-trick. Some are arguing that the hat-trick off the back of our chat. Not prepared to say it. That's what other people are saying. But if you don't know who it is, you will in a couple of seconds. I'm going to say his name. Punters and dribblers, the one and only Kieran Foran. Where'd you play golf today? We just start rolling. There's no special intros or anything, so.
No, I played at Robina Woods. We've been playing, but it's fucking steep. It's $100 each time you play.
Really?
Pull that bit closer, yeah, boys. Yeah, no worries.
I'm not good at
Not a
this
big
shit,
podcast guy.
No, I'm
That's
not.
all right.
I don't often do this stuff.
We appreciate you doing it.
Fucking hell.
No, it's a
How do you hit him?
No, I'm fucking average.
Yeah.
I'm average.
Yeah.
Have you seen me play golf on the scopes? Did you see me play?
Oh, I
that
do. I mean, I remember it. But I don't.
Chesson, scope.
Yeah, I do remember
I had
that.
an
But I
awful
don't-
day.
that was actually very funny, that video.
Yeah.
You guys talking shit to each other the whole time.
Um,
But are you like shit for a footballer? Because every time we hear a footballer be like they're shit and then we're playing with them, it's like we're actually fucking awful and then they're quite good.
I'm getting better. I'm improving.
Yeah.
I'm improving.
Do you have lessons and shit or like?
No, I've had one lesson, but
What do you
I enjoy
reckon?
my golf.
You reckon you reckon lessons are needed? You just got to go out there and play them all, don't you?
I don't know. It depends how serious you want to get, eh?
How many times a week are you playing up here in the retirement village that is the
Like
Gold
twice a
Coast?
week at the moment.
Yeah. Do you feel retired up here?
Potentially. You've got to stay really focused, otherwise you tend to switch off. But no, it's it is a good lifestyle.
Or no, I was just going to ask about like now you're up here and then you're seeing fucking 10 years for Tino, for Feeder's getting paid out the arse. You're like, oh Jesus Christ,
Yeah. It's
Give Desi a text, go mate. I'll stick around for a little bit.
Yeah, I might try to play another 3 or 4 years. I can drag it out.
Yeah, you can. Well, how's the body?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's I've had a tough year with injuries. Like I actually injured myself against Manly badly down there.
Well, shouldn't have left.
At full points, yeah, exactly. I did a bad toe injury, and I could have probably had. I had the option either have surgery then, but that would have been probably my season done. So I opted not to get the surgery, but played through that and then picked up a few other niggles along the way. It's been.
What are you, 32, 33 now?
33.
33. So you could still reasonably have a few more years in you, right? Like you could also retire today and people are like, yeah, well, he's had a good run, but like.
Sorry, mate.
No, that's all right. That's pretty.
I'd like to play as long as I can.
Yeah.
That's
So
why I
it's
keep
not on the
saying.
horizon.
Nah, well, I've got next year to run contract-wise, and then it all comes down to results and performance.
Yeah.
Once you get to my age, I think you're going year by year. and
Yeah.
You're just hoping that you're playing good enough footy to keep rolling around.
How long have you been like niggled for? Do you get out of bed and there's something fucking niggling away?
I've been like that my whole career. I was telling the boys yesterday, actually. I remember when I got signed at Manly, and then I went into the NRL squad at 18, 19. And I remember Chocky Watmow and that just looking at me going, mate, you're going to be in all sorts by the time you're 24, 25. Because I'm so genetically poorly put together. I'm not elasticy, I'm not flexible, I've got real shit hips back.
So is he.
You sound like me, mate.
Yeah. And so we used to do the hurdles, how you see the boys getting over the hurdles.
Is it like when you're stepping over them
stepping
side
over
by
the
side?
hurdles.
Yeah.
So when I was 18, I couldn't get over the hurdles.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the boys were like, what the fuck, Coach? You're cooked, mate. You're going to be in dramas. But, so that was the start of it for me. So I always knew I was up against it.
But did they not try and like stretch you out? Are they like?
No,
I mean, maybe not
they
back in
tried.
those days. Like
They
there was
tried.
nothing you could do.
Yeah, I think like I said, I
You just fold back in on
shit
yourself.
hip, shit back. Yeah, so mate, battled injuries the whole time.
And you're back this weekend now, right?
Back this
Coming
weekend.
back. What was the? You come back from the toe now?
Sternum. So I picked up a sternum injury like 7 weeks ago, tackling Big Valence Tafade.
Oh,
yeah,
big
right.
boy.
He was running at me the whole game. I don't know if you remember. I think we played them about 7 weeks ago, Dolphins. He was just charging at me the whole game. Anyhow, I picked up sternum injury and then I've been needling it for the last 6 weeks.
How do they needle? Just like bang straight into it?
Straight
that
into the
just
joint.
Feels like
Yeah.
that shouldn't happen. A needle into the sternum.
Bit of local in there before the game just numbs that part of your chest and then.
How long does it last for?
No, you get through the game generally. You might have to top up at half time occasionally, but it does last for most of the game.
How many of the boys are getting needles at half time?
Oh, not many at half time.
So basically just
there'd be 4 or 5 blokes getting needles before a game.
Before the game.
Yeah, probably in most clubs, I reckon.
And that's just every game. That's just sort of you just because you hear everyone say it where it's like most of the time you're playing with injuries or there's niggling injuries.
Probably not rounds 1 and 2, but I reckon after that, from there, she's all downhill. Yeah.
Given your body and your niggles, like, was there ever any advice from the club at least when you're at Manly early in the game, to stop taking the ball so late to the line and just getting absolutely folded? Well, like I loved watching it. Like it got me going. It got the fans going. Definitely watching you take the ball to the line so fucking late. But geez, you took some punishment.
No, I knew only one way, didn't I? Back then, Kitey used to joke with me. He said, "Foz, you're just a lock forward playing in a number 6 jersey. Let's be honest." I think. I don't know. I learned pretty early on that I guess that was one of my strengths. Like that was a way I could open up space for guys like Brett Stewart and that on the outside and out the back. So that was how I sort of got into first grade, really. Like I remember training and, I was training with the NRL boys and I remember Snake sort of going up to Desi at the end of one of the sessions and said, "Mate, this bloke, he just goes that deep in the line. He's giving me that much space out the back. I've got all the time in the world to do what I need to do." And, so I think that probably became one of my trademark things, just digging in and trying to create space for the boys out the back.
How do you remember those days, like those fucking absolute glory days?
Yeah, we love talking about those days.
Glory days.
We love
We do. We love it.
Just, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know whether you even realised when you were in it how fucking glorious they were, but like, do you sit on your balcony sometimes at your palatial Gold Coast estate and just go, "Fuck, they were good times"?
Well, mate, it's been hard to top those years. Like, it's been all downhill for me since then. Like, fuck, how do you get better than that? Like, I came into that side in 2009. Like, the boys had just come off the back of back-to-back grand finals, won the premiership in 2008, and like, being a young bloke starting out in your career, coming into such an established like NRL side, surrounded by like a wealth of experience was just
weapons everywhere.
Yeah, it was such a cool experience for me, and it was like great learning for me too. But yeah, it's hard when you start early on in your career at such heights, like and such a like I said, world class team and. You're playing grand finals, and
were you aware of it at the time, or is it only when you get older that you sort of look back and reflect?
It's only now as my career's gone on that you realise how lucky we were to be involved in such a side like that. Like it's bloody hard to make the finals, let alone to go on and play in grand finals, and to be fortunate enough to win the premiership with the boys in 11, and then go back to another grand final in 13.
We won it, mate.
Yeah, I know.
We won that fucking grand final. We were fucking right, mate.
We see it as more as four in that 5-6 year period.
Yeah, well, we
07, 08, 11.
We don't have to accept that loss.
No, fuck 07, mate. We won that one as well. Like, I'm not saying give me a ring or anything, or like give us the but we won it because they fucking cheated.
Yeah, that may be a tick take parade or something.
The first time we went on Scope's podcast a couple of years ago, and we brought it up then, and we were like, "How fucked was that?" And he was like, "Mate, I don't really think about it, or like I haven't like gone back and looked at anything." And then after that podcast, he said he went back and watched the highlights.
Did
and
he?
It fucking pissed him off all over again. It's like, mate, we were robbed.
It's a tough game to watch, that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
How do you remember so it's 2011.
Yep.
Just again, you're 2 years, 3 years into your career at that stage.
Yep.
Look, I don't know if you do this. I like to go back and watch there's a YouTube video, which I think is just our fucking run into the finals.
There is.
Maybe it's like 15, 20 minutes of just like, we
might even be a
we
pitch
pumped
longer.
everyone in that final.
In that final series?
You smashed everybody all the way through. It's just like a fucking parade of just manly excellence.
And didn't lose at home that year as well, I don't think.
Yeah, really?
Well, listen, mate, let's
go
with it.
Let's go with it.
We're like, you don't even need to talk here. We just basically just want to tell you about how fucking great the time in our lives was. Thank you for that.
Oh, can it just live on forever?
I know. But, what's the grand final like? What's that day like? Was there a part of you that when you saw the Warriors beat the Storm to make the final, you're like, we got this. Like, we're going to win the fucking comp.
Well, they went on a run, eh? They went on a run. And they knocked Melbourne off. Yeah, we were probably assuming we'd play Melbourne, and then Warriors got through. They'd been playing good footy that year. But, yeah, I think I was always confident. And certainly the older boys were giving us younger guys that confidence because they'd been there and done it before.
In what way?
I just remember, like, the small conversations through the week, like, we'll be right. We've got all the experience in the world. We've been here. We've done it before. They didn't have too many players in their side that had played on in a grand final day. So, I remember being quietly confident heading into the game. And
it's funny, like, when you think about someone like just someone, but like, someone like an older player being like, mate, we've got this. I still am like such a pessimist. I'll be like, well, how the fuck do you know, mate? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I need the confidence here, but you telling me that is not getting my nerves out of my system at all. Were you wigging out on grand final day, or were you pretty calm?
No, I would have been nervous. Thinking back on it, I would have been nervous. But like I said, there would have been a quiet confidence that, we had the ability as long as we turned up. And I think all the boys in the side believe that too.
Who's running the show back then? Was it Gifty? Like, I've heard from a couple of different people that it was basically Des would loosely come up with some sort of game plan, but Gifty go, listen here, bro. I'll be running things today. If you don't know.
They all had their different, moments of power, I guess, if you call that. Like that leadership group worked really well together. But yeah, Brett and Glenn were, like powerful influences on that group. But, then you had guys like Jamie Lyon and Jason King who were the co-captains and like really influential leaders, during a game. It was just, it was stacked with, I guess, guys that had been there and done it and were sort of at the top of their game at that time.
Yeah. Is there like, have you been in a team like that since? Not necessarily in the sort of, again, it was one of the great sides all time, but just, I guess, the way the leadership system works in terms of the relationship with the coach and players and all that sort of stuff. Is it quite unique in your experience?
Yeah, very unique. Yeah, I've never been involved in another, I guess, side that's similar to that in the sense that those guys, they just had a lot of pulling power, I guess, within the club and with Desi, and Desi certainly listened to them a fair bit, and not that he doesn't now, but those guys, like I said, they knew what worked and what the side needed to do, and they could have a fairly strong hold on that.
Punters and Dribblers, as always, we are brought to you by the best betting agency on planet Earth, and that is our friends at Neds. And you know what? Punters and Dribblers, they also support the best betting show on earth, and that's About Even. But you know what the number one thing right now that you and I are enjoying is the About Even group on the Neds app. It just is. It's a private space for like-minded punters and dribblers to go in there and to share their bets and to shoot the shit.
100%. Now, if you don't have a Neds account, I'll ask you why not. And also,
if you're a punter,
there's a nice opportunity here to rectify that, to fix horrible wrongs. As we go into finals footy, you're going to need a Neds account. It's as simple as that.
If you're a punter.
Of course, Tom. If you're a punter who likes a punt coming into final series, you're going to need a Neds account. It's as simple as that. Tom and I have got one, and we're dominating right now.
Look, I'm certainly on the improve from my season. That's for damn sure. But again, the private group in there, the About Even group, it's the biggest group on Neds that isn't like an open racing
Well, it's
group.
the biggest.
It's the biggest group on Neds, and it's a private one. We like to keep our groups private, punters and dribblers. We like them to be exclusive. Now, if you do want to join, here's the little secret passcode. It's Dribbler, and you can come in, we can share bets, shoot the shit, and we can enjoy finals footy together. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website. What's Des like? Because, I mean, I've told this story a few times on the podcast. When I was in radio as a producer,
It's worth repeating.
I didn't have – he was in between jobs. Sorry, Des, you got sacked. And I think it might have been post-Bulldogs. So he was doing, like, breakfast radio. Like, he'd come in and talk a bit of footy. And obviously, if you've ever heard Desi speak, riveting. Great voice for radio. Yeah. But I didn't know he was coming in, and the producer, like the main producer, was like away or some shit, and they didn't give me his number. He didn't have my number, so I'm just sitting there going, I think I knew he was coming in. No, I'm like, where the fuck's Des Hasler? Like, we're about to start, and then I finally get his number and I call him, and it's pissing down rain outside, and I've just left Des Hasler in the rain for like 45 minutes. And look, he was not stoked coming in. I couldn't have been more effusive in my apologies. And he was pretty chill. Like, I mean, what the fuck's he going to do? But, you know.
Punch you.
Well, he could have punched me. He certainly could have done that, and that would have probably been deserved. But, you know, like, he seems like kind of is he different to the way he's seen in the media, the way he's like sort of front-facing persona is?
Yeah, he's a bit of a piss take sometimes when he fronts the media. I think, like, when you know him, on that level, you know he's a bit tongue in cheek at times with the media, but yeah, no, he's look, Des is a winner. I guess that's probably his greatest trait. I would say would have been when he was a player and having been a coach. I think he lives and dies by winning, and he sort of, I guess that filters down into the groups that he coaches, and he's...
But you guys would take the piss out of him and stuff, wouldn't you? Like,
for sure, yeah. Yeah, no, he likes a joke. He's not all sort of huff and puff and serious all the time. Like, he likes to, loosen the collar and have a laugh at times.
And how do you then, like, as a younger player coming in, when do you feel comfortable enough to start, taking the piss out of the coach?
Yeah.
Like, is it immediate? Do you have to like earn your stripes?
I reckon it takes a while. Yeah. I don't know, as a young bloke, if I would have been too eager to take the piss out of Desi, but certainly as you get on and you build that relationship with him, you feel like you can pull his leg a bit.
Yeah. Did he ever let you in on his hair care secrets? No. Because his hair
it's luscious, isn't it?
Oh, but I mean, like, let's be honest, mate. You had a fucking top knot for a period of time.
I
got
did.
Some luscious hair.
Yeah.
If you let it go, your hair is Des Hasler.
I'm actually tempted to grow it back now.
You're going back?
Yeah.
Well, when Des comes up next year, you can be ready.
Yeah. It looks like honey just flowing from the scalp.
He does have a good head of hair, doesn't he?
No, he does.
He does.
But what is he, 63? Like...
That's right, like not looking like it's really going grey.
It's not going anywhere.
Like it's just
that's a great point.
True.
The colour as well.
Sandy.
Really strong. It's actually ridiculous for his age if you think about it.
Mate, I reckon if you might find like lost shit in his hair, like, you know what I mean? It's so thick.
What,
and
like treasure maps?
Well, like MH370 maybe. I don't know. Potentially. It's so fucking
Lost
sick.
surfers.
Yeah, exactly.
He was I remember, I think you were telling me this time, but didn't he used to have this like system, mathematical equation where he'd sort of like he'd weight different parts of the game and think he could
he's very stat driven, like which is a good thing in a way, because he sort of, that's how I guess he breaks down where he needs to improve, like where the side needs to improve and where it's, going well. He's got numbers for everything. And he talks in 4.6, 3.6, depending
does he?
on, he's not talking 3s and 4s.
He's talking
decimal
decimals.
points. He's getting real specific.
Oh, yeah.
Mad scientist shit. Can that become a bit draining? He's like, listen, dude, I know he's about to become your coach, so like, but at least you know him already.
Not draining for me, mate. I love it. Yeah.
Are you a bit of a nerd like that as well, like a rugby league nerd, like in terms of that?
I'm a footy head. Yeah, I love me footy.
You watching how many games are you watching? Like during the season, I imagine it's quite consuming. You still watching every other team?
I'm watching every game.
Really?
Yeah, I'm watching every game.
And is that enjoyment? What
I love
percentage
it.
enjoyment
Yeah.
and also like an analytical?
Nah, I love it. Yeah, I would do it even if I wasn't playing.
Right.
Yeah, so it's good to watch other teams just to get get an idea of how they're playing. But I just love watching footy.
Tell you what, rugby league guru would be nervous hearing that.
Yeah, he would. You know,
we always say, geez, so many people that watch every
social
game.
Media guy.
But Big Five's giving him a run for his money.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite player to watch?
Oh,
Don't like giving out fucking credit.
yeah, man. Fuck. I don't know.
Hey, Joe Brimson, say someone in your team.
I like watching Penrith at the moment.
Yeah. What about player? Like, is there someone where you're like...
Yeah, look, Nathan Cleary's great to watch.
Yeah, right. Did you hear he's dating Mary Fowler?
What's that?
Did you hear he's dating
I
Mary
did
Fowler?
read that somewhere the other day. It was just an ice cream, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah, well, but, you know.
But, I mean, well, listen,
Ice
ice
cream.
cream.
How far's an ice cream go?
What the fuck are you doing with an ice cream? Like, I mean,
Sam is pretty suggestive, I think.
yeah, ice cream.
Yeah.
I mean, like, unless you're, as Eddie said,
Power couple. Was
well,
it?
it's a serious power couple, right?
Yeah.
But unless you're filming an ice cream commercial, sharing an ice cream with another human is quite...
It's romantic.
It's romantic.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
intimate.
intimate.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's a couple of steps before taking your clothes off, as far as I'm concerned.
He seems to be someone, again, for someone like me and Eddie who don't know what the fuck we're talking about largely. From a rugby league perspective, someone like Nathan Cleary, who everyone sort of, obviously he's won back-to-back comps and he is who he is, right? But like, how do you see someone like him coming through? Is he like the complete footballing package? Is it?
Yeah, he's right up there. Yeah, for sure. I think he deserves all the credit he gets. Like for a bloke, he's 25 and he's already achieved so much in the game. And then the quality that he plays at each and every week. And he doesn't have... He's got hardly any weaknesses in his game. Like, you know, there's not too many footballers that you find like that. He sort of ticks all the boxes, which shows you, A, how gifted he is, and two, how hard he works on his game, which is really impressive to see. And he's going to have one hell of a career, you would think.
How do you keep those young fellas at bay? Like, is there something that you try to focus on more that you think you've got an edge on them over? In the sense that, you know, you've got these young stones coming through. I speak of Reece Walsh, different position, but Jesus Christ, like he's 20 years old. He's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
What do you find your sort of strengths are now as you got a bit older?
Yeah, I guess, they're so... I look at these young guys coming through now and they've got it all. Like, they're so talented. You know, they got speed, they got skill, they got size, strength. They've got it all. I guess for a bloke like myself now, it's just a matter of, well, one, I always say continue to evolve. You know, like grow my game each and every year, add something new into it, and just try and have a point of difference. You know, like I've got to try and stay in front of the pack and keep up with the game. And as you get on in your career, you don't want to become stale and fall behind. So, I just try and improve my game each and every year. Each season brings something new to the table.
Is there an anxiety to that, to sort of constant improvement in terms of like when you're trying to bring something new to your game each year?
Yeah.
Is it are you identifying what that is at the start of the year? I want to get, or in the off season, I want to get better at this, or like this is this thing, and then I'm just going to fucking drill down on it as hard as I can.
Yeah, for sure. And you might actually pick up on things that other players are doing that you're not doing.
Right.
It might be something like that from the previous season, or you, as you said, you sit down in pre-season and go, shit, what do I need to get better at and strengthen in my game? And there's always something you can strengthen to become a better player for your team. So, yeah, that's how I've sort of gone throughout my career, and I think it's allowed me to continue to play at the level that I want to play at. Yeah.
Interesting. I wanted to go back quickly, just back to that old school, the old Manly side that we just
You mean
loved
the
so
decade
much.
of dominance?
Decade of dominance.
Great size all time.
Like, I remember, I think it was Scope who sort of talked about this. I believe it was. He was saying that at the time, Manly's approach was more of like an old school camaraderie first, get the fucking boys just pumped up around each other approach versus Melbourne's very statistical, work hard, extras,
Train
your dick off, hyperbaric chambers, fucking carrots for every meal, no beers, that sort of approach. Do you see that Manly side as like the sort of the last time that old school mentality was rolled out to success?
Where ripping and tearing was actually just on the schedule.
Sure.
It's like this. I know you got to rip and tear on Thursday and again on Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, I do for sure. Yeah, I don't think there'll be another era like that or another side. That was sort of the last of it, and it was unique. As I said, coming in as a young bloke into that culture, like still drinking midweek, still partying after every game like mad, and then playing in grand finals at the end of the year.
Still being able to back it up and do it. And,
But that just shows you the mental toughness of those blokes. Like, as you said, different way of looking at footy to what probably other clubs were doing at the time. But those guys could do it all. They could train hard. They could play hard and then party hard.
I think I remember, I can't remember what Scopes told us in privacy and what he said on a podcast.
We're not going there.
You should be able to tell.
But in terms of like the dudes who like to go party the hardest, but they're also like they would train the hardest. Like it was like they would also set the standards.
Oh,
and
for
they'd
sure.
come in to train and like completely sort of.
Yeah, there's a number of them that they could enjoy a win on the weekend and sort of. We'd all go out on the beers, and then they'd turn up Monday and be winning all the fitness drills. Like they knew how to get the job done. They knew how to get their bodies right for each week, and then some of the injuries used to watch what they played through was. I often say to people now, when people ask me about my injuries and how I play through, what I continually play through each game. I'll give a lot of credit to, having watched what those guys played through in my younger days. The amount of needles that they would, get before a game in order to play, and then I remember watching Chalky play with a ruptured bicep one year. I don't know if you remember. It would have.
I remember. I mean, I've seen it since. I'm like, he didn't get it fixed. It looks fucking all the way up here.
It was one of the most painful things I've seen. He did it mid-season, I think, and that they said to him, "Look, you can get surgery, but it's ruptured, but you'll have very little strength in your arm. I don't know how you're going to tackle." And he goes, "Stuff it. I'm just going to keep playing.
Really?
I'm not getting surgery."
He's a different sort of beast, though. Like, he seems like just an absolute.
Imagine a ruptured bicep.
Yeah.
You'd have hardly any strength in your arm to tackle.
Yeah.
And he'd roll out there and put his body on the line for 80 minutes each and every week. And I remember just thinking, like watching the pain he was in each tackle and just going,
and he just kept going, just rolling up and doing it again. God, they were good times, Kieran. Fuck, they were good times.
They were different beasts. We were talking to Matty Johns a couple of weeks ago. Not to
we've been dropping some names here.
Listen, I will.
Yep.
And he was saying that he thinks that players now spend too much time around the club. Like they're in there at 7, they leave at 7 at night. It's too intense. It's too all consuming. Do you think that maybe there is some value in going back to that old school way of, Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays down the Stain and maybe Thursdays?
I look like you don't want to say what you think.
It's hard though, because I
like a bit of a release.
Yeah, I guess there's two ways to look at it. Like, mentally probably would freshen players up now, but I think the game has grown so much from back then. Like, I look at photos of myself back then and old games and, a bit pudgy and, everyone's bodies were a bit more sort of out of shape. And,
right.
You can't get away
phenomenal
with that now.
Footballers, but not all great athletes.
Yeah, Georgie Rose comes to mind.
Yeah, I think you look at the game now, and I think the reason that we've got the product that we've got is because of how athletic everyone is. Mm-hmm. And so, a bit of that old school, I guess, in the sense that, 10 years ago you probably had more footballers, like natural footballers, but less athletes. And I think now you got better athletes. And I think that's because of the hours that players train.
Why do you think there's not as well? The perception seems to be there's not as many halves coming through at the moment. You sort of like it seems like every club's scrambling to find halves. What do you reckon the reason that is?
Yeah, I think the game's continued to change. Sort of goes through these different periods depending on the rules, and I think I think when I came into first grade, like, you know, there were probably the game was played slightly differently, and then now they brought in the 6 again. The game became a little bit more free flowing. I've lost my train of thought here.
Just in terms of, I guess, just in terms of the way, like, that we seem to be like, there seems to be like not as many halves as like or do you maybe even think that's not necessarily the truth?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe we're just comparing halves to, I guess what I'm getting at is maybe we're comparing halves to, say, like Cooper Cronk or Jonathan Thurston.
Right.
As in the halfback role and 5'8" role is slightly different now.
Right.
To maybe what it looked like 10, 15 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the rules are constantly changing and the game's changing.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
it's, you know, if you have a look at your younger halves now, maybe they play a slightly different style or a different approach to a game to what
The halves of yesteryear.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not too sure, but I think that's probably got something to do with it.
Well, listen, we seem to like to get rid of halves at the moment, Manly, so I mean,
Yeah,
but also we brought a few in. Actually,
Well, we're big in the selling
we
and
like
buying.
to selling and buying halves at the moment, buying
That's
and selling.
probably for another day. I remember Joey he always says in telecasts that halves, everything slows down when they get to like 27, 28. Did you find that? Or is it still real quick?
Nah, it slows down. Oh, the game's fast.
Yeah.
I'm still finding my lungs out there. But nah, it does slow down for you in the head. I think that just comes with experience and sort of the more games you play, then you sort of get a better feel for, you know, what's coming and what's not. And it certainly, I see things differently now to what I did, you know, 8-10 years ago. So, I'd agree with that. It does slow down for you. And I think you slow down as well.
I was going to say, do you notice things that maybe you wish you had a 20-year-old body, but then with a 30-year-old mind?
Well, I'll never forget what Dave Penner was, me and Cherry's under-20s coach at Manly. Great guy, great coach. And I'll never forget, he said something to me one day. He said, and he was a great half himself, and he said that when you start to slow down with your speed, like as you get older, you'll slow down. He said you'll become a better ball player. And I remember thinking, shit, what's he mean by that? But I actually understand it now, because I think in my earlier days I was still had a bit of leg speed, and you're sort of going at the line 100 mile an hour. You're doing everything fast. You know, you're looking to bust the line, and you're not seeing everything as well. And I think as I've gotten older and I've lost a yard of speed and I'm a bit slower now, you've got to find other ways to actually pull apart a defensive line. You can't just go gangbusters into the line and try and, you know, break tackles and create something that way. You sort of got to see the whole picture. And I think that's what he was referring to, is as you slow down through your legs, you'll actually become a better ball player. And I think now,
so maybe like start of a season, you're like, one of the goals this season is to get slower.
imagine that.
I'm too fucking fast. I need to slow down.
No, I don't think you want to do that. But you're probably not. I think when you get to my age, you're probably not making as many line breaks or scoring as many tries, but you're creating just as much in different ways.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed everyone was like, when Foz gets to the Gold Coast, he's going to like unlock David Fafita. Is it a lot of fun having a beast like that outside you?
Yeah, he's a special player.
He is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's been great having a guy like him run off me. Mate, he's such an athlete. Like he's a fucking thoroughbred, isn't he? Yeah, he's like what you know. I don't know what he weighs, but you know, like he's a big guy, and he's as fast as anyone in our team. You know, especially over 0 to 20. So you can imagine having a guy like that punch a line off you, and then on top of that, he's got silky hands and skill and offload. He's got the whole lot. So it's been, mate, I've loved it. Yeah, it's been great.
When you sign with them, are you like, do you have an approach as to how you're going to try and get yourself, sort of ingratiate yourself within the team environment, and like how you like, do you speak to players like him and passing on knowledge about like, this is what I want to do and this is what I want you to do and this is how I think we should be playing and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think once I got up here, I sort of worked out pretty early, you know, what Dave's strengths were and sort of the guys around me, what their strengths were and how I would try and complement that through my ball playing. And, it was a pretty natural sort of process once I got up here.
So you've been around a few clubs now, actually, haven't you? So
I
you're
have
probably used to slide into clubs.
Do you get nervous before your first day?
First day at school.
It is a bit like that.
Backpack
Yeah, it is.
on,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
your new kit
Yeah, I
and
say that
everything.
to everyone. It's like turning up to a new school, and it doesn't get any easier. I still get nerves rocking up day one and sort of introducing yourself to
Don't know where the
everyone
fuck you're going.
Yeah, getting to know everyone. You're like the lost school kid, you know, walking in. It's like, where's my locker? And boys are like, there. The sheds are just there, and it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
That must have been nice, going back to Manly and playing with Ches again. Did you froth
mate.
that?
Yeah, it was unreal.
Yeah.
It was great. Like I said, after everything I'd sort of experienced in the previous years, and at that stage, mate, my career was sort of, it was up in the air. Like
People were writing you off.
Yeah,
eh? They were
yeah,
it was.
like I'd had 3 really bad years at Canterbury in terms of injuries, and I thought that when I'd played there, I'd played all right.
You got
but
player that you were on the field
Yeah.
stringing games together, you were still in good form.
But I played 3 years of basically half seasons.
Yeah.
And I had really weird and unfortunate injuries there. And basically when my contract was up there at the end of 2020, that was the COVID year. Mate, I had no one wanting to sign me. Yeah. I thought that was the end of me. I was like, shit, is this really how it's going to end? Yeah. Mate, I didn't work my whole life and train as hard as I've trained to have my career fizzle out like
Go out
this.
as a Bulldogs player.
Yeah.
Injured.
Yeah. just to be sort of, I guess, perceived in that way and live with that for the rest of your life. Just, mate, I couldn't stand the thought. But yeah.
You managed to turn it around.
Yeah.
Was it 2021 when we had that fucking glorious run in the top 4 and Tommy was absolutely killing it?
Made the prelim.
What was that like? Again, because of all the things you'd spoken about, the injuries, all the different clubs, and to come back and to have success rate. You played most games that year, I think. What was that feeling like?
Putting
just
50
for your
on
fucking
people, 60 on people.
smoking these beaters, some of your former teams,
it was.
It
was a crazy year, wasn't it? Because the 6 again rule came in and the game just opened up, and then Tommy just found this patch of form that I've never seen.
It was ridiculous.
Wasn't that just absolutely absurd?
Yeah.
What was it like watching him on the field? How do you describe that?
Oh, you just, mate, I don't know. You don't want to sound disrespectful to other teams and that, but the way he was just running through the middle of teams and that, it was just, we'd never seen it really in the game. And I think everyone would agree. You'd never seen a bloke just 10 metres out, just go, give me the ball, let me charge over 5 blokes.
Yeah.
When had we seen that really in the NRL? But not just do it one week, he did it consecutively.
Which he did it every week.
Yeah, which was just... Yeah, it was just the way in which he was scoring.
It was almost disrespectful in the way he went. Where he's just fuck it, all right, there's nothing on here, just give me the ball.
Well, he beat there was a game up
Cowboys,
there. Yeah,
9
Cowboys.
guys,
He beats
10
9,
guys.
10 guys. Yeah. We just hadn't, I don't think, seen a player do that in that fashion. And then there were games, like I was saying, that there'd be nothing on. He's like, give me the ball 3 metres out and I'll just put the ball over.
I feel like he can still, even obviously he's been unlucky with injury since then.
Yeah.
But I feel like even the games where he's played this year, he's still able to do that shit. It's about him just trying to string it all together. But I mean, that season was one of the great runs you've ever seen.
Yeah.
When you talk, you're a footy head. Would you talk much footy with him? He seems to be very intelligent and get the game on a different level.
Yeah, he does. He's as smart a footballer as I've played with. He understands it all. He sees it. I like to think, so tall, he gets a bird's eye view of it. I think Tommy's got the advantage. He's got the bird's eye view.
Yeah, that must be.
But, basically, got drone footage from there.
He's 5 steps ahead of blokes on the field. He knows what's coming, and then he's got the deft hands. He's got the silky skills to go along with it, and. Yeah, mate, that year was something else.
Where's he sit in terms of players you played with? Is he the best, or is it hard to quantify because it's
different eras are hard. I always say that when people say, Brett Stewart, Tom Trbojevic, it's well, Brett Stewart didn't play within the 6 again
Era.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, different. There was lower points scored back in that era.
Yeah.
Probably more.
It was the
more
wrestle.
defence. Yeah, like you'd win games 8-4 or you could win games 6-0, things like that. So Brett never played in the era that Tommy played in, so it's hard to compare. But Tommy sits right up there, Like, especially like what we've seen him do, and he's a freak. He's a freak.
You've got to play with some weapon fullbacks, haven't you? Yeah. Brett Stewart and Tom Trebojevic, just two of the all-timers. And I'm sure, I know there'd be other ones in teams that I just choose not to remember.
Well, the other ones aren't important.
No,
they're relevant.
Brett had the best anticipation I've ever seen.
In terms of like when there's a break on or something?
Yeah, Brett could anticipate the players in his team, and he knew what they were going to do, when they were going to do it, and he was there for it every time. I've never seen a player have that anticipation like Brett. Like he just, you watch his games, he was there every time.
Yeah.
He knew when an offload was coming. He knew when a break was coming. It was, I always said to him, his anticipation was just like nothing I'd ever seen before.
Do you ever think, you ever sort of smile or chuckle to yourself about how weird it is? At least it's weird for me to look at it, to have played with the Stewart brothers and now with the Trebojeviches.
Yeah.
Like they're same positions.
Similarities, eh?
Similarities are crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy when you think one's, a fast back and the other one's a slow moving forward. But both silky in their own right.
Yeah.
Like, Glenn Stewart was...
He's one of the
best ball-playing forwards the game's ever seen.
Well, I heard a rumour once that he taught Matt Orford how to pass.
I woun't. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I remember being a young bloke asking, like I was playing 5'8" at the time.
Yeah.
And I was just mesmerised by Gifty's skill level, and I remember asking him how he could hold the ball up the way he could and pick the right option and things like that. So, he was a special player.
What's Jake like to be around? He's just a passionate,
the nicest bloke in the world.
Nicest bloke.
But he's passionate.
Yeah, he's passionate. Yeah, he loves his footy.
He seems like he loves his mates. Losses.
Yeah.
Well, he still would have even said as much of it, where he's like, I need to get away from footy sometimes because if we're not winning, I'm down in the dumps.
Yeah, he rides it hard, doesn't he? Jakey, mate, he's one of the best blokes in the world, Jakey.
What's he like if you've just conceded a try and he's in goal?
He's filthy.
Yeah.
Filthy. Yeah, he bites his tongue a lot of the time. Like he'll just, be shaking his head or bite his tongue. Every now and then he'll give the group an absolute, gobful. But he's so passionate. He just wants to win.
And do you have a bit of coaching in your future? Is that something you're like as a footy head, or like something you would like to do?
I'd like to. Yeah, it's all I've ever done is rugby league.
Yeah,
I can't really see myself doing anything else. Not that I'm not shut down. No, certainly won't be doing any of that. But, I think staying involved in the game is something I would enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Have you sort of felt anyone out about coaching? Coaching?
Not yet. No. Not yet. I used the analogy the other day. I said to a few of the guys at the club, I'm trying to drain the rag dry.
Yeah. Get every last drop out of it. Yeah.
I'm not...
couple of bones left to break.
Once that rag's been sitting out in the sun and it's...
crusty.
It's crusty. That's like how I want my body to be by the end of it, I think I'm the sort of guy I want to finish playing knowing that I got every ounce out of it as possible, and then I'll focus on what's next. But
not too much thought.
Yeah, I think naturally I'd like to sort of progress into that coaching role, and whether that's going back and sort of coaching, the lower grades, or it's going straight into an assistant role. I'm not sure.
Eddie's got a Div 2 Oztag team.
No, you could coach us. When you retire, I play Div 2, Div 3.
Just if you want to cut your teeth.
Well, if you want to come down and coach us in Div 2 Oztag, mate. Centennial Park.
No good at Oztag. I wasn't fast enough.
Well, mate,
neither are they.
But that's why it'd be good to have you down there. Show us how to fucking be a better ball player, because I got no speed. I wanted to know. Let's just, again, to use South because it's an easy example. They started well, premiership favourites at some point. They were killing it, top of the league, and there's just been a steady decline to potentially missing the 8 altogether. Is there sometimes, is it in a season, is there a case of we don't actually know what's gone wrong here? Or is there always an answer and some players don't buy into what the solution is? Like, is there generally a theme that's followed?
No, like maybe not. I don't know. You look at South, like they were flying at the start of the year.
But that's what I mean. That would just be so frustrating.
Yeah.
To me. Like, we're kings of the world.
Well,
right
they had.
now.
You see, they had Latrell miss 10 weeks, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
They probably lost a little bit of cohesion there, and I guess fluency with their, players available in attack. Had a bit of change, and I don't know, but it's hard. Every season's different.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't always know the answer. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you can put it down to injuries, bad luck. But I don't know.
Have you ever had a really good pre-season, right, where you just thought we're fucking on here, and then
It's gone to shit.
and then you get to the first game or the first 10 games, and you just start getting towed up.
Yep. Yeah, I've had that a few times. I've gone home after pre-season and said to my wife, we can win the comp here. Gone out round one and been towed up by 40. It can deflate you pretty quick. Yeah, pre-season's a funny thing, like, because you can train that hard. You can be in the best nick of your life. You can feel like, your moves and your training runs are going really well. But sometimes you're running that against your same opposition, like you're doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
And you're getting used to, running your plays a particular way, and other sides that you come up against in NRL aren't going to defend that way. So it can be a little bit
jarring when you accidentally come up against them.
Yeah. So, it can be a bit difficult.
Yeah. So it can happen. Yeah. Perception isn't always reality. You can be thinking you're red hot.
Yeah. Then you can have a shit pre-season, and then,
things go
have
well.
a cracking year.
I find it strange that teams can finish a season sort of top 8 or, top 4, and then the next season with similar players sort of miss the 8.
Yeah.
You look at the Cowboys they keep going on and on and on about their red hot pre-season last year that was affected this year because of the World Cup. Like, are the margins so small that it's just any sort of inconspicuous factor can tip you one way or the other?
For sure. Yeah, 100%. I think that can happen every year. And I think also, like, teams get on a roll sometimes through a year, like, through confidence.
Yeah.
Through having no injuries, they get red hot form and they win 7, 8 in a row, and the next minute, mate, they're sitting top 4.
But it's kind of like Newcastle a little bit this year.
Yeah, and then that could happen to any side at any given time.
Yeah.
And in saying that, you could be on the other end and cop a stack of injuries, get done in a few close games, find yourself out of form, and the next minute you're down in the bottom 4. I think the competition is so close that you can find yourself one year going from, 3rd or 4th down to 3rd or 4th last.
Which is always fun. It's a fun experience as a fan. Were you ever close to spurning your Kiwi heritage and, donning the sky blue of New South Wales? and we are half Kiwi ourselves, so, Aotearoa, brother.
Yeah.
We're all good.
I did.
We're all brothers here.
Yeah, exactly.
I did think about it. Not think about it, but I guess when back then I'd played NRL, I made my debut, and then I had to pledge my allegiance, 1 or 2 weeks after that.
Okay, so it was really early.
It was really early. And
you played for Kiwis super early. Were you like
super
20?
early. I played
Captain
at 19. No, I played. I debuted for the Kiwis later that year. So so I made my decision, pretty quick. And I guess for me, I'd grown up very passionately about New Zealand, having been born there. Like every Kiwi kid sort of idolises, their, rugby heroes and league heroes. And, I think, when I moved to Australia, that didn't change. Like I didn't move to Australia and then all of a sudden,
Become Australian.
Yeah, go the green and gold.
Mate, you've managed to hold on to a Kiwi accent better than anyone who's lived here for
I don't reckon.
I reckon.
You've got probably the most Australian Kiwi accent of all time, but you've
100%.
still got heavy Kiwi in
You
you.
reckon?
Yeah, I reckon for sure.
No, my wife tells me I got the most ochre Aussie accent of all time. There's no Kiwi left in it. But
Left in it. There you go.
There's a little bit. There's a little bit at the back end. Yeah, I can hear it.
wait till I get around the Cuzzy Bros.
Oh yeah, then you start.
Comes down thick and fast.
How old were you when you moved over?
No, I was about 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was well and truly entrenched in me by the time I moved over. When New Zealand was playing Australia in the Bledisloe, I was not supporting Australia once I moved here.
And you were beating the shit out of us in the Bledisloe, so it's good times.
Yeah, no, that was when the games were quite close. Now they're not.
Well, that's actually true. How would you?
Well, they're close if we play the B side.
Yeah.
Grim.
So, look, I think for me, I've always been a passionate Kiwi, and
could you do the haka for us now?
No, I can't do that for you. But I love Origin. I do love Origin.
Yeah.
I think everyone loves Origin.
You would have thrived in Origin. In that arena, I reckon.
I would have enjoyed it.
You would have.
Yeah.
That'll keep me up at night as well.
Do you ever think about Jesus Christ?
Because you were friends with Mitch Pearce growing up as well. You guys would have been the fucking halves.
Yeah. Well, I guess, because I did move to Australia when I was so young. I had the option to play, I guess, pledge my allegiance to Australia and play Origin. But I guess
Kiwi
stuck with me, stuck with my heart.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
There's always a part of you that enjoys watching Origin, but that's one component of it. The other component is if you choose Origin, then I would have had to play for Australia, and I don't think that part of it would have felt right.
Yeah.
Had I been picked.
I think you probably would have. How old were you when you were captain? Was it 20? Were you 20 when you captained?
No, I captained the Kiwis. I think I would have been 22.
Right.
But it was.
That must have been a bit of a trip.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that was one of the proudest moments of my career.
Yeah.
Still remember it. Simon Mannering went down with a calf injury, and Steve Kearney sort of called me in and basically said, "Mate, you're going to take the reins."
Are you I'm 22, Steve. What are you doing?
Yeah, I was like that. I was like, "Are you sure? Sure you don't want to give it to one of the older guys?" And
to an adult. At 22, you feel like a kid. You're like, I don't know what the hell these adults are doing. These big weapons.
22-year-olds are young.
Yeah.
Well, I look at some of the guys in our team at 22, and I'm like, geez, I was bloody captaining bloody New Zealand at this age. It was.
Were you mature? Were you a mature 22-year-old?
In parts.
In parts,
Footy-wise, I was mature. I was pretty immature off the field.
Yeah.
Had a lot of growing up to do, but I think I was mature in terms of how I looked at rugby league and how I approached my footy and things like that. So I like to think that I always led when I sort of stepped onto the field, and I think I'm a natural leader in that sense. I just do everything I can to try and win a game of footy, and very, very humbled and grateful to get that opportunity back then.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Do you remember what speech you made to the boys for the game?
I don't know. I can't remember that one. I've made a few over my career. I can't remember that one, but we went down. We lost to the Aussies.
Do you go off the cuff if you're doing a speech, or do you prepare it? If you got to get everyone sort of up and about before
and it's probably I'll ask because we've got to give a speech to our marathon runners in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm wondering, do you go off the cuff, or do you
prepare a couple of notes on the wrist tape?
No,
fold some cunt.
It's often a feel thing, fold some cunt. It's a feel thing at the time, but I reckon during the week you might have a bit of a theme in your head, or something might have popped up that inspired you, and you might think, geez, this would be good for the boys to hear this. But I think at times I've just gone off how I felt at the time.
I get it. It's good.
Yeah.
Good to know. You're writing the speech. I'm not.
Well, listen, I'll write it. I'll think of some themes during the week.
Some things.
Maybe a bit of fault, some cunt on the tape.
Yeah.
And then if I feel like the
You always
theme
get
that I
up there-
prepared's not good,
Jerome
then I'll
Luai,
have
best
to off
man
the cuff
speech.
it.
Throw the speech in the air and just go. I'm going off the cuff.
Just Luai it, you reckon?
Yeah, well,
Luai.
it works.
Yeah, critically acclaimed.
It works.
Critically acclaimed.
Mate, as we wrap up, thank you very much again for coming on. We weren't sure whether you were aware, but you're currently, and we've sort of gone through the history books, the only grandfather to play in the NRL.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Trebojeviches have tipped you up.
How do you?
Thanks for that.
How do you feel about Poppy
We've
Foran?
been
Is
calling
what
you
they're
Poppy
calling
Foran.
Probably Foran, yeah, and I know Jake and Tom have put you up to this, so thank you. Can we say step? I am step Poppy.
Well, step Poppy.
Yeah.
How do you? What's been a
That's
grandfather
beautiful.
like?
It's beautiful. It's great. Get lots of cuddles.
Yeah.
You
Elbow
know.
patches, are they coming out yet?
Like the-
Walking stick. Yeah. You got the body of a grandfather.
I feel like it at times. Yeah, that's why I can get away with it. You know.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, eh?
It is cool.
It's cool.
It's sick.
cool.
Yeah.
It's
Especially
cool.
because you're still playing.
Oh, I know.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
Have
Yeah,
you,
Jake and Tom had a good laugh about that one, especially Turbo.
Yeah, I bet.
Your good mate Mitch Pearce,
Yep.
playing well over in the south of France. Doesn't look like a bad place to live. Everyone that's played over there is like, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
Would you go over there and play with your old mate if there wasn't too much love from Desi over the next couple of years? Or would you hang up?
No, I don't think I'll head over there. I've been asked, I guess, the last couple of years whether I'd go overseas eventually, but
Win like 12 Man of Steels.
I think with my family situation, I got 2 kids on the northern beaches. I sort of wouldn't want to be that far away from them. So I think I'll do my dash in the NRL and then.
The Gold Coast is the south of France of Australia, as they say.
It doesn't get much better, does it?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. That is what they say.
Yeah. So I'll as I said, I'll drain the rag out as much as I can up here, and then
Right off in the sunset.
Yeah.
Mate, I was thinking, again, like coaching-wise, right? If you go into coaching, Des can't coach forever. You grow your hair out. You're kind of the new Des
What do you
of
think?
Australian coaching. I don't mean... I think
And then Manly's always done well when an old boy who's won a comp comes back and takes over.
I get
then
what
now,
you're
obviously,
saying.
we're
That's
close
circle
personal
of life.
friends. You get us into the coaching setup. We the boys.
Yeah.
We're just in there for,
Who's
dribbling.
running offense and who's running defense?
No, we're not in there for any sort of attacking now.
It's
So
all
I
about
think
mentality.
all
We're
about-
mentality coaching.
we're
mental
mentality
skills
coaching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like what it takes to win and be a winner and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So look, I
Because
think
you've just done so much winning over
Yeah,
there.
plenty of. I think that's probably a good spot to leave it.
Yeah.
Mate, thanks for coming on. It's been
All
great to
good.
chat with you.
You're a
Thanks
legend,
for
mate.
having me,
Thanks very
guys.
much.
Beauty.
Could you two just not talk anymore?